Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Council for the Town of Petawawa to order for June 15, 2026. Welcome to members of staff, council members, and all of our special guests we have with us here this evening. We'll begin this meeting with the reading of the land acknowledgement, and this evening it's Councillor Carmen.
Thank you, Mayor Service. We acknowledge that the town of Petawawa was incorporated on the traditional, unceded, and unsurrendered Algonquin and Anishinaabe territory in 1865, just 8 years before Reserve Number 39 was established at Golden Lake. We recognize Petawawa's long history, which predates first arrival of colonists as early as 1613, and its significance to the indigenous peoples who lived and continue to live upon it, and whose spiritual practices are tied to the land. We commit to understanding the profound impact and harm of colonization, honoring indigenous rights, and embracing reconciliation as a core responsibility. We further commit to honoring the reconciliation process by learning about the 7 grandfather teachings of love, respect, bravery, truth, honesty, humility, and wisdom, and applying these lessons to our stewardship of this land. Big wish.
Thank you. I now ask everybody in attendance if they would please stand with me for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you very much. I need a motion to approve this evening's agenda. Moved by Councillor Root, second by Councillor Donovan, that the agenda for the June 15, 2026 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Yes.
I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Tell them I can't hear.
It's carried.
Have to talk up, Gary.
She says she can't hear you very well.
Okay, I don't have control of the volume.
Is this on? You're at 1 and 2.
Is this thing on?
No, this one, we should have a speaker in front of them.
Yeah, it should have a speaker right there. Just a note for anybody here or anybody watching, you'll notice there's 3 councillors not at their seats. They are presently in a meeting next door and should be out shortly to join us. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Turn it over to the clerk.
Thank you. I'm,
I have to turn that down. We're just going to pause a second as we await the presence of the deputy mayor for a disclosure of pecuniary interest. He seems momentarily distracted. If the door wasn't there, we could toss something up and get her attention. You want to carry on?
yes.
Very engaged right now. We shall carry on.
Sorry about that.
I think maybe the volume on that one's too high.
Okay, go ahead. I'll turn it off.
That may have been my phone. That's strange. So, my apologies. I'm reporting a pecuniary interest on behalf of Deputy Mayor Teresa Savarin. At the June 1st closed session meeting of council, she declared a pecuniary interest with respect to item 2 on that agenda regarding potential disposal of surplus land by the town of Petawawa, as she is in the process of selling her home and purchasing land in Petawawa and she did not want to discuss property values that may be of an influence on land sales. So as part of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, when members of council make that disclosure in closed session, it has to be made again in the next public meeting. I just need to get that patient.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, now I need approval of the minutes of the council meeting of June 1st, 2026. Moved by Councilor Carmody, seconded by Councilor Coutu, that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held June 1st, 2026 be approved as printed and circulated. Are there any questions, concerns of the minutes? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. And now, the real reason we're all gathered here this evening. We're very excited to announce the 2026 Senior of the Year Award for the town of Petawawa. And we'd like to welcome, can you hear?
Go ahead.
Okay. We'd like to welcome Janine Mones as our recipient of the 2026 Senior of the Year Award here in the town of Petawawa. We're here to talk about your impressive history here in the town of Petawawa and your lifetime of volunteerism and all that you've done in your, are you ready for this? 104 years on this earth here in Petawawa. We also like to welcome 3 of your kids who are with us. We have 4. Tom, Val, Dick, and Marlene Mons are here as well, accompanying their mother. So I'm going to give you a little history of your life. I hope you can hear some of it. Janine Charette was born March 13, 1922. The actual family homestead is still there on the corner of Black Bay Road and Eichstead Road here in the town of Petawawa. She was basically raised herself and all 7 of her siblings raised by her mom, as her dad died of tuberculosis when Janine was only 4 years old. As a teenager, she worked part-time in a small restaurant for the Giesebrecht family. And at that time, you could get a slice of pie for 10 cents. If you added a nickel, you could get a scoop of ice cream on the pie, and you could get a whole bacon and egg breakfast for 50 cents. You can't do that anymore. One of her other early jobs was working for Victor Ross Photography. In September 1941, she married Willard Mones. And shortly after that, he left for England in World War II. And he did not return until October 1945. I don't know if Janine remembers going to New York City to see Frank Sinatra in 1942, but that must have been a pretty cool trip back in 1942 to go from Petawawa to New York City to see Frank live. After the war was over and Willard returned to open a garage, which is now today's Denny's Automotive, and right beside of that, Janine opened a restaurant where the current post office is. It says she needed a bit of petty cash to start the day off, so she broke her kids' piggy banks to get $11 in change. But by the end of that very first day, the restaurant was so busy, she had $100 in sales in her hand and thought she had become a millionaire. Janine, as I said, Janine and Willard had 7 children. There was Tom, Stephen, Val, Dick, Cindy, Sandra, and Marlene. And they all lived above that very restaurant until 1956, when they moved into a house on Victoria Street. Well, Victoria. And Tom was telling me earlier, the door was always open to that house for any member of the community who wanted to stop by, especially because they had one of the first televisions in town. So everybody could go and gather there and watch the hockey games or whatever else was on. Another few interesting facts about Janine. She loved to cook. And all of her children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren have her recipe book and are still cooking all of her recipes today. Speaking of all of the generations, there's Janine, her 7 kids, 14 grandchildren, 30 great-grandchildren, and 4 great-great-grandchildren. Are any great-great-grandchildren here? No?
3 great.
3 great ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just great. You're not great. You're just okay. One of Janine's mottos is a glass of wine a day. And that's one of her secrets to longevity. She also has a love for playing cards. Euchre is her game of choice, and she taught all of her grandchildren and great-grandchildren how to play, but still beats the pants off them. One of her favorite things to do is watch the Toronto Blue Jays play. She gained that love of baseball from watching the Petawawa Indians play for many, many years. And last season's run to the World Series was pretty exciting, I understand, for any Blue Jay fan. She used to play bingo regularly until just a couple of years ago. Now she listens to a lot of music. Her two favorite songs, Stardust by Rod Stewart and Harvest Moon by Neil Young. She drove her car until her 90th birthday, which is pretty good. I hope I drive my car to my 60th birthday. Speaking of her volunteerism, she spent a lot of years volunteering at the arena for the various hockey tournaments, the ball tournaments, but her big claim to fame and volunteerism is she became the first president of Our Lady of Sorrows Catholic Women's League in 1942, and then volunteered for the next 84 years with the Catholic Women's League. I don't know if you'll find a longer streak of volunteerism at any one place in the world, maybe. And we're going to leave you with Janine's 4 lessons to live by. The less said, the better. That's a pretty good one for politicians, especially. Everything happens for a reason. And when it comes to raising children, her go-to statement was, "It's just a phase." We're wondering if any of your kids are still going through the phase. And finally, this would actually be a good motto for the town of Petawawa. Go with the flow.
Yeah.
So Janine is now in her 105th year. She had her birthday just this past March. And for the 104 plus years, she's been going with the flow. So Janine, we brought you here this evening to honor you as Petawawa's Senior of the Year. And we're so proud and honored to have you here with us and to present you with this award. Congratulations. So we're going to ask you just to come over here by the table. We have a couple of presentations to make tonight.
Anybody wants to come take pictures, come on through and.
Come over here.
Just watch the camera, that's all.
We have a little pack.
Get this.
Okay, they're all going to take a picture every day.
Smile, Mom.
We'll let you go back to the microphone, then everybody can hear you. Okay.
Wow.
So we'll give Janine the opportunity to say a few words for everybody here in the room and the thousands of viewers watching at home. Don't be nervous.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank all the people that sent so many cards and beautiful wishes and flowers. And just people dropped in for to say hello. I appreciated all that. Just, I'm so proud to get this. I never in my life thought
Senior of the year?
especially coming at the end. I take it day by day, and that's the only way you can wash it away, I guess. And, but that's what I'm gonna say now.
No stories today.
Yeah, can I tell a little story?
You sure can. You go right ahead.
The other night, Tommy came in. He said, I come to tell you you've been chosen for the
Senior of the year.
senior of the year. I was behind a little bit, but I thought he said, the singer of the year. So I said, oh my God, I can't sing. So anyway, I said, if my sister-in-law was here, I needn't help these most people do it. We always signed together, you know. I don't know, when time we got around to the other side of the house, Tommy says, I think we're on the wrong page. So it was so nice to know. I was nervous too, but I'm trying to calm myself down. Anyway, thanking everybody and this, whoever organized this too is just wonderful. I don't know.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
I
Say thank you, that's it.
say thank you again. I don't know.
Okay.
I can't tell you how proud I am today.
Oh, that's good.
And I thank you all. Just wonderful.
Well, you deserve it.
Unbelievable.
You deserve it. I thought maybe they had the microphone, you might sing a song. And maybe try out the
Go on
singer
your
of the year.
Ticer.
She hasn't had her wine today.
Anyway,
That's it?
Okay, so once again,
being old sets me off with baking and all that. I can't do that anymore, so all I do now is sit.
Well, that's good.
Okay, we're gonna take some pictures.
Oh, okay.
okay, so on behalf of the entire town council and really the whole town of Petawawa, congratulations again on being named 2026 Senior Citizen of the Year in the town of Petawawa. So So what we'll do now is we'll take a quick 5-minute break and we'll give the family a chance to use our backdrop here to take as many pictures as you want with whomever you want. Okay? So we'll take a short break for photo.
Why did your laptop finally give up the notes?
Okay, welcome back, everybody, from our short break. Next up, we have a 2026 Municipal Insurance Program Renewal Report. I'd like to welcome Chris Bevan of Kennedy Insurance Brokers Incorporated to present the municipal insurance program for the town of Petawawa. Thanks for coming, Chris.
Thanks for having me, Mayor of Service and members of council. It's tough to follow. That was one of the most wholesome things I've ever seen at a council meeting. It's lovely. To speak quickly to council, the insurance program for 2026 is coming very consistent. Right now in the general marketplace for insurance is what is called a soft market condition, where insurance programs that are providing you the coverage are trying to provide more coverage while maintaining consistent premiums or suppressing premiums while they can. At this point, Intact Public Entities, your provider, has done that very well this year, while giving you a renewal that's consistent, but also giving you additional coverage. The highlights that I provided is that there is minimal change on the liability policy for this year, but also under the property coverage, there's additional limits that are given to all of the buildings that you own on a blanket basis. So there's an increase of $7.8 million to a total of $209,653,570 is your total loss as a blanket cover. When you take that comparatively to the premium that's being charged, it is not even 1% of a percent. So the insurers are coming through and working with Petawawa to make sure that you have a consistent insurance program. The automobile fleet policy is remaining flat, and we are working to continually update the risk services to executive staff members. We've had meetings with executive staff on Petawawa's goals going forward for the next 12 to 24 months. We understand that you're developing a very rapid pace. So our focus is to assist that development and provide risk services to all staff on providing ways to mitigate liability and to assist you through procurement processes and also inspections of your property so that we can reduce liability and the impact of any injury to a third party, because we want to keep people safe, right? So we just try to assist you as much as we possibly can. From there, we're also going to be talking this year with executive staff about changes under the Ontario auto policy and making specific focus on doing a benefit and enhancement to internal policies so that we can be on side with the changes to the automobile policy for accident benefits. So overall, the report's very simple. The program is working, the premium is staying consistent, and staff are responding extremely well to communications to Intact Public Entities, and it is returning dividends on your risk. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for that. I'll open it up to your questions or comments from members of council. Councilor Pursuit.
Thank you for your service. Certainly just a comment. So I really appreciate what you said about staff working on this project, because as you say, I mean, the goal is safety and improved efficiency and less liability. So thank you, Colin, for your leadership, and thank you to all the staff for that input.
Any further questions or comments? I'd just like to point out that, and I hope I'm getting this right, the overall premium increase is only 1.7% for a total of $8,501 for the entire corporation of the town of Petawawa. So I think in terms of increases, you always fear the worst. But I would say this is kind of like the best case scenario. One of them. Okay, well, thank you very much, Chris, for coming and giving us that update on the insurance premiums for 2026 and beyond.
Excellent. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to bylaws. First up, we have bylaw 1838/26, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a subdivision agreement with 2654-799 Ontario Limited, Radke Estates Phase 2-2 subdivision. I need a motion for first and second reading. Moved by Councillor Carmody, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sabrin. That bylaw 1838/26, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a subdivision agreement with 2654799 Ontario Limited, Radke Estates Phase 2-2 subdivision be read a first and second time. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1838-26, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of subdivision agreement with 2654799 Ontario Limited, 5 Key Estates, Phase 2-2 subdivision, being read a first and second time this 15th day of June 2026.
I need a motion for third and final reading of bylaw 1838/26. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Councillor Donovan, that bylaw 1838/26 be read a third and final time and passed. Are there any questions, concerns on the bylaw? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1838-26, being a bylaw to authorize the execution of a subdivision agreement with 2654799 Ontario Limited, 5 Key Estates, Phase 2-2 subdivision, be read a third time and passed. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1838-26, this 15th day of June 2026.
Okay, next we have bylaw 1839/26, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 1788/25, being a bylaw to appoint municipal law enforcement officers for the town of Petawawa. I need a motion for first and second reading. Moved by Councillor Roots, seconded by Councillor Coutu, that bylaw 1839/26, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 1788/25, being a bylaw to appoint municipal law enforcement officers for the town of Petawawa, be read a first and second time. We'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1839-26, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 1788-25, being a bylaw to appoint municipal law enforcement officers for the town of Petawawa, be read first and second time this 15th day of June 2026.
I need a motion for a third and final reading of bylaw 1839/26. Moved by Deputy Mayor Sabrin, seconded by Councillor Carmody, that bylaw 1839/26 be read a third and final time and passed. Any questions, concerns on the bylaw? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa, bylaw 1839-26, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 1788-25, being a bylaw to appoint municipal law enforcement officers for the town of Petawawa, be read a third time and passed. This constitutes third and final reading of bylaw 1839-26, this 15th day of June 2026.
We have no correspondence, so I'll go right to some minutes. The minutes of the council and committee meeting of June 8, 2026. I need a motion to accept those minutes. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Councillor Carmody, that the minutes of the council and committee meeting held on June 8, 2026 be accepted by council, and that resolutions from that committee become resolutions of council. Any questions, concerns on the minutes? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? That's carried. We're rolling right along. Staff reports next. PW-17-2026 award request for proposal. PW-11-2026 the waste collection contract. Chris, you're required.
Thank you, Mayor Service, members of council. Been a long time bringing this report, so excited to deliver it. So staff are requesting council award for proposal PW-11-2026 waste collection contractor to Miller Waste Systems in the amount of $1,207,555.84 plus HST for year one, which starts April 1st, 2027 to March 31st, 2028. And this is a 7-year waste collection services contract. Some background, the town of Petawawa, along with the township of Laurentian Valley, the city of Pembroke have contracted joint waste collection services since the early 2000s. The 3 municipalities known as the partners have been under the current waste collection contract since 2015. Staff initiated this request for proposal early enough to ensure a seamless transition and to avoid any service disruptions. The existing waste collection contract extensions expire on March 31st, 2027. The proposal was prepared and advertised on all 3 of the partner municipalities' corporate websites, Facebook and Instagram accounts on April 14, 2026, 11 firms requested the RFP package and 3 firms submitted proposals on the closing date of May 13th, 2026 at 10 a.m. We received 3 compliant bid submissions: Miller Waste Systems Incorporated, Amterra Environmental, and Environmental 360 Solutions. So the RFP was developed to solicit qualified solid waste management companies to submit proposals to provide waste collection services for the partner municipalities. And the RFP had a 2-envelope system whereby the evaluation team did not have access to the proponent's financial submission unless the technical submission scored 53 points or higher. The evaluation team consists of staff from the town of Petawawa, the township of Laurentian Valley, and the city of Pembroke. So there's further information on the successful proponent being required to collect residential garbage, organic, leaf and yard waste, large item collection within each partner municipality. As well, the town of Petawawa has provisional items for Christmas tree collection and 9 bear bins located on Garrison Petawawa lands. The RFP was reviewed by myself, Brian Lewis, the Director of Operations from the City of Pembroke, Mary Ellen McLaughlin, Manager of Operations from the City of Pembroke, Mark Beam, Manager of Public Works for the Township of Laurentian Valley, and Kendrick Stage, Public Works Administrative Assistant for the Township of Laurentian Valley. You have the scoring provided on the chart. So following the evaluation process, Miller Systems Incorporated was rated with the highest evaluation score. As Miller Systems has held the waste collection contract in the partner municipality since 2015, staff did not feel that reference checks were required. And the new contract will begin on April 1st, 2027, and a contract for execution will follow at a future council meeting. So the financial implication, the contract price identified in the RFP will be adjusted on an annual basis using the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, starting on the contract anniversary date of April 1st, 2028, and adjusted for CPI thereafter on the 1st of April of each year. In addition, we have monthly adjustments for fuel prices. And as a comparable, the current contract costs are approximately $1,067,872.30 per year plus HST. And that's what we're currently paying. And the new contract, which will start on April 1st, 2027, is in the amount of $1,207,555.84 plus HST. Happy to take questions.
Thanks, Chris, for that report. I'm not sure who came up with the name of the partners, but did they consider the 3 illegal?
So,
And I'm not sure about the choice of the date. April Fool's Day is the renewal date for the contract. But anyways, I'll open it up to members of council for questions. Okay, looks like you did a good job. We have no questions. So if everybody's comfortable, I need a motion. Moved by Councilor Ruth, seconded by Councilor Carmody. The council awards request for proposal PW-11-2026 waste collection contractor to Miller Waste Systems Incorporated in the amount of $1,207,555.84 plus HST for year 1, April 1st, 2027 to March 31st, 2028 of the 7-year waste collection services contract. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Next, we have PW-18-2026 financial update for Norman Street Access and Visitor Information Center parking lot. Chris, you're up again.
hey, thank you, Mayor Service. So the Norman Street project is proceeding on schedule. And as everyone is aware, it involves several unique components that carried some standalone budgets that were approved in the 2026 budget process. So I felt it was prudent to bring a report for information to council, just to update where we're at with this and why our staff doing what we're doing on this project. So the chart that was provided on the first page of page 73 of your report provides part A and part B of the original tender that Ownership Excavating Incorporated was awarded. Part A was for the Norman Street road access, along with the concrete island on the boulevard, the pedestrian crossing, And it also included additional street lighting, the Petawawa letter sign site preparation, a new water line for future site amenities tied to the Keating Land redevelopment. And then during the budget process, Part B, which was a provisional item within the tender, was approved as part of the 2026 budget. And all those costs are laid out along with the 5% contingency. So the change orders on page 74. So change order number 1, which was approved as part of budget deliberations, was for the addition of the parking lot aspect of that contract. So that's a standalone change order and doesn't require any further discussion. But change order number 2 through number 6 have an impact on the $45,000 contingency, so felt it was necessary to go through those in more detail. So change order number 2 was the relocation of fencing at the daycare. Simply put, that was just to move some fencing to allow for the parking lot construction. That's the fencing for the daycare playground. The new water service. So I believe that the old water service was damaged as part of snow clearing operations because it was a gravel parking lot. So the stem for the service was damaged, so we had to repair that. The new hydro duct bank, which is change order number 4. That was just installing conduits for future electrical needs when we do future phases for that project. So those duct banks are in place and we don't have to do any further digging or damage the work that we've already done. Storm system sweeps, that was essentially tying in the storm on the new road access to the existing storm line. You sometimes don't realize what you're looking at until you actually dig down and see where your catch basin is located in relation to tying into the storm system. So we had to purchase some extra piping. And then change order number 6 is additional site works at the Visitor Information Center. So members of council would more than likely recall in 2024 when we did the grand opening, there were some site works that were just put on hold. And basically we tidied up the site. We used a lot of recycled asphalt to make it look neat and tidy for the grand opening. But it was always our intention to get back to finishing the grounds. So this change order is essentially paving under the outdoor area beneath the roof. So that was the removal of the gravel beneath the roof area and paving it to enhance the usability of the covered area and improve accessibility to the facility. We then installed a drywall to capture surface drainage and roof drainage from the Visitor Information Center and eliminate any ponding areas. So that's all been piped and stormed to the drywall. And then there was regrading around the Visitor Information Center to match the entire site and improve the overall aesthetics of the facility and surrounding landscape. And then of course there was the addition of a substantial amount of topsoil and nursery sod because the existing site was essentially sand and then recycled asphalt put on top. So as well, the site was prepared for the future extension of the boardwalk deck, which will be extended to the edge of the roof line where we paved underneath the roof area. So those change orders come to a total of $52,121.57. And as you know, we have $45,000 in contingency. So my proposal was to use $40,000 in contingency to cover change orders 2 through 6, which would be $12,121.57. And there is $25,000 in property maintenance. So we'll use the money for property maintenance. Now, if we see the project is getting close to completion, I've kept $5,000 in contingency. If we see that we don't need the contingency, what I'll probably do is work with the Treasury Department, use that contingency, seeing as it's tied to the CCBF funding, which was how this project was funded, and that would lower the requirement on the property maintenance by $5,000. Okay, so that wraps up essentially the construction, the road, the parking lot, all the servicing for the future use for next phases, as well as all the property enhancements around the Visitor Information Center. Okay, so that's all wrapped up. Then there were 2 additional budgets associated with this project, and they relate to change order number 7. So the first budget item was for the removal and construction of a new accessibility ramp at Norman Banky Hall with a budget of $76,000. Now, council members may recall in 2024, there was an old budget that we had looked at from community services in the amount of $300,000 when we were first looking at the concrete ramp, which we all felt that that cost was not reasonable. So I think we've got a good plan in place now. So the budget of $76,000 was a little low, but I can run through with council just so everybody understands what we're looking at here. So for the removal of the existing ramp, the installation of the ramp foundations, 71.5 feet of wooden ramp, 6.5 feet of concrete ramp termination, which is essentially a concrete pad where the ramp starts. That's coming to $80,356.76. So we're very close on the budget for the ramp. In addition to that, there was $8,800 in restoration below the ramp. So in order to keep weeds from growing up under the ramp, that's all going to be dug out. Geocloth we put in, and then nice river stone to make it look sharp, and then it won't have weeds growing up underneath it. So essentially the ramp is $89,234.70. We've reviewed the costing, myself, Treasury, as well as JP2G, and based on current market conditions, it's a really good price in our opinion. And then for the second item, the second budget was $61,000, and that was for the upgrades required to the daycare for code compliance, and I'll let our manager of Civic Properties, Ted, run us through those.
Okay, so the two for the kinder school as it is now, to get turned into a full-fledged licensed daycare, they need 10% of the play area to be natural light being windows. So we had to look at finding more window space. With doing that, we had to open up the one window right off the ramp to get to our 10%. By doing that, we also had, there's an item number on there for a new rental to carry the weight. So, and the engineering fees go on with that. And the other part of that construction is Red Cross is also in there, their 24-hour emergency services. We found that that's not a fit in consulting with them, and they agree that in the middle of the daytime, childcare, not a good spot to go in and try to get emergency service out of there. So we'll be relocating them to Civic Center, which makes more sense because that is the hub for emergency services. They're on board with that. They're looking forward to doing some work with us in the future. So with that being said, we're going to be using their space to add a door for the kids to exit into the play area. So they don't, right now, they would have to go out their door into the parking lot through a gate and into the play area. So we'll be adding a door, which will give them direct access to their play area, so they're safe and not having any kids running away if they have a nurse or a child that like to scoot away from people going into the parking lot. So that's where our extra money comes from.
Yeah, so for that, the costing for the windows, the door, the brick repairs that are required to the exterior, interior repairs and finishing, we have to relocate the outside fire alarm, along with the new wall assembly for structural enhancements. That came to $67,459. So again, the original budget was $61,000. We're very close on that. There is $45,000 in property maintenance for Norman Banky Hall. So we're planning on using $19,693.70 from property maintenance to cover the excess amount. So in conclusion, this was a team effort, Public Works, along with Treasury, JP2G, along with consultations with CAO Howard, to make sure that everything was good for this project. The investments and the completion of this project is essentially all of the goals we had for 2026 are being met, and I think we're in good shape budget-wise, so I'm happy to take questions from members of council.
Okay, thanks for that, Chris and Ted. It's been an ongoing project for quite some time. It's great to see it nearing its completion. Just one quick question about the property maintenance funds, the $45,000. Is that funds that we have earned as revenue from rent for that facility, or is that a separate budget item?
So yes, I can answer that, Mayor Service. So the 61,000 that was put into the budget for the daycare upgrades are tied to revenues from the daycare. Now the overage, I'm not sure how that would shake down. I'll have to work with Megan on that. Obviously, if there's more revenue coming in, fantastic. But in this case, we have good funds in the property maintenance account to cover the small overage.
And just for council's knowledge, we are meeting regularly with the county of Renfrew and the staff at Gateway Connection in terms of exploring various funding opportunities from the county in terms of the child care. Okay, Councillor Kern.
Thank you, Mayor Service. Thanks, Chris, for bringing this report forward. No questions, just a comment. It's looks like the project is well in hand and on track, and it's nice to have this update at this stage, just to confirm that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Carney. Yes, it was important for me to get back to council and just, go with the flow, so to speak, and make sure that everybody was okay with the decisions that staff are making. There's a lot of moving parts on this project. I think Ted and I, everything's going really well. Completion is around the corner, but it's going to look really good with the upgrades to the daycare and the new ramp.
Councillor Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, guys. I took a drive over, and yes, when you start getting into all the little bits and pieces, and there's, like you said, a lot of moving parts, a lot of extras done here, things that have to get done, and including the paving under the roof at the welcome center, the upgrades to the daycare. There's compliance there that has to be done, and like we said, we hopefully have a revenue stream, and I believe that's going to happen coming in there too. So I support this for sure. I'm very impressed, and it looks good. So thank you.
Deputy Mayor Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chris, I really appreciate this report. I appreciate the thoroughness, the detail, the checks and balances, and the review. It's, especially around contingency items, which has always been my concern as to, well, what are you actually spending? And the detail is absolutely excellent. This is a model for future. So thank you very much.
Further questions? Councillor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chris, I'll just echo kind of what Dave said. I do really appreciate the transparency with this on all of our change orders, and not just for us, but for members of the public who are also here to watch this. They can at least follow along and see where their money is going and how we are spending it. And I think some things need to be done. And I think lots of these things that you've done here are all perfect for where I continue to done his work. So no, I appreciate it, and I hope that we see this more often with the contingency stuff. I really like it. Thanks.
For sure.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, so thanks again for the report. And if everybody's comfortable, I need a motion to accept it. Moved by Councillor Roots, second by Councillor Carmody. The council receives this report as information. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Next, we have FIN-05-2026, the first quarter 2026 financial report. Megan, you're on.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Service and Council. Hoping we can keep the good vibes going. It's pretty straightforward for Q1. I mean, obviously, there's not much that would have gone on. We barely approved the budget in Q1. So in terms of capital projects, basically all that happened was what had been carried forward from prior years. Nothing really lifted off there. The revenue is probably the only line that seems kind of out of whack, with being at about 25% of where the total budget is for the year. And that's really just because we've done the interim billing in March or February, and that's where that will be reflected. So when we come to the Q2 report, it will be sitting at the same number there. So about 50%, which is what we would expect. in terms of the rest of the expenses, I mean, nothing is out of line for Q1. Like I said, basically everything is at or below that 25%. Some of the other items that would be maybe higher than 25 would just be one-offs, and if it's lower, and especially in the revenue, it's just due to timing. Just when we would get funding from the governments and things like that. So, in terms of the water and sewer budget, I mean, very little revenue because we don't do the water and sewer billing until we do final bills, which are being prepared now and should go out and hopefully this week. So obviously there's not much in the water sewer budget that's going on, just standard operations there. I'm happy to take any questions from the council, and I hope all of our reports are this short and sweet.
Thanks, Megan. Questions from members of the council? Okay, must have done a good job.
Excellent.
It's nice to see the vendors over 100,000 list there again. That's always a good bit of information as well. Okay, if there are no questions, then I need a motion to accept the report. Moved by Councillor Coutu, seconded by Councillor Donovan. The council receives this report as information. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Thanks, Megan. Okay, that brings us to councillor reports. We'll start with Deputy Mayor Sadler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think what I'd just like to report on is the past weekend, which saw Civic Center Days. Lots of good opportunities for our community to get out and enjoy some of the fantastic weather that we have and participate in the things that make sense to them as families. I do want to, and I'm sure Councillor Coutu will speak more in detail, but I do want to thank everyone who came out to support the Pride event on Friday night. It was our best year yet, and what I really saw was a strong sense of community. I saw people coming out and enjoying themselves and truly celebrating what Petawawa is all about and the diversity that we have here in town. So I think that's it for me for tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Cameron.
Thank you, Mayor Service. I can report this past weekend. I attended Civic Center Days. I attended the Pride event on Friday night, and I attended the awards for the Hall of Fame awards ceremony on Friday night as well.
Thank you. Councillor Coutu.
Thank you, Mayor Service. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for the warm-up. I will go on a little bit. I'll indulge myself. I just want to thank first and foremost our sponsors for the Pride events. So we had TD Bank, Starbucks, the Elementary Teachers Federation, the Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation, and the Public Library, or Petawawa Public Library, come out and sponsor our event. And what that amounted to was more than we've ever been able to offer our community. And in response, more community members than ever came to our event. So we had probably over 150, maybe 200 people come in and out of that event. And, we ran out of everything, which was amazing. But I also want to thank some of our other partners. We had the Renfrew County Sexual Assault Center. We had our very own Petawawa Accessibility Advisory Committee. We had Kitchissippi Productions there offering the photo booth. We had drag performers come out from our community and perform in a fashion show that then our attendees joined in. So it was really an exceptional and joyous event. Randa came and performed for us for the first hour. We had Domino's Pizza. We had really all kinds of things. And more importantly, this year we had a sensory tent. So the PMFRC and your unique world came and set up just a quieter spot for families who needed some different vibes at this very exciting event. But I want to say to what Deputy Mayor Sabrin said, the community aspect of it was really huge this year, and that's what I've been hearing from everyone who's been telling me about their experience again. So 4 years in, after 4 years, we have now developed a space where people consistently know that they can come and celebrate themselves as they are in a town that celebrates their diversity and has a place for them. So making a welcoming town, making welcoming spaces in this town, an inclusive town, that was one of the key mandates of the EDI committee. So I just want to take this time right now to say thank you to all the volunteers on that committee. We have truly assembled an exceptional group of community members. And Deputy Mayor Cyber knows how hard we work at those meetings to put these kinds of things together and be very thoughtful about what we put out in the town that's new, that we can include everyone in. So big thank you to our community members and for all the other volunteers. We had more volunteers than ever come out from our community to lend hands, to come out and do the mini putt, to run the community crafts, to add to our chalk wall. So just to say, this really was the biggest and best prize that Petawawa has ever thrown. And I hope that everyone has a chance to stop someone who was there and hear about it firsthand. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Driscoll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On June 9th, I attended a Key-Band meeting. Topic for discussion were some milestones coming up with Hiska's, the Shed, and the Leash. Seen some preliminary artwork for the town of Petawawa letter sign. It looks very good. Looking forward to seeing that come to fruition. Some staff went down to a security expo in Ottawa, which seemed pretty interesting if they were trying to, spur some economic development with some military companies that supply on the base. We'll see, hopefully something can come of that. There was talk about the ongoing business retention program we have, and it's been pretty successful so far. There's a couple other things that were going to be on the agenda for next week, but the one touch on was creating essentially a sponsorship template for people who are going for businesses, because a lot of our businesses are seeing a lot of requests for sponsorships, but if they don't really give the feedback into what the businesses gain out of lots of these things, whether it's exposure or anything like that. And they talked about potentially starting with P-Band, using some of the members on P-Band to start somewhat of a mentorship program for like follow-up after new businesses come to town, because economic development is very good at helping businesses get started, but then there's follow-up, and it would be nice if some people in the business community, similar industries, could talk to these people afterwards and bounce ideas off of anything like that. So I also attended the AOR's trade show earlier in the month, which was quite a spectacular event, and attended some things at Secretary this weekend. That's all.
Thank you. Councillor Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the 3rd of June, I attended the Senior Advisory Committee meeting that was held. The minutes will come up to council for review. I'm sure the chair will address those things. I as well attended the AORS event, and it was huge. There's lots going on there, so it was very exciting to be there. On the 4th of June, I attended the Business Persons Luncheon up on the Garrison. There was some new information in terms of leadership, how the shape of the base is changing in terms of reporting chains, and we're back to a system for but years ago, so it's good. Everything comes around. Keep over the flow. On the 12th, I attended the opening of Rise Kind, a new business here in Petawawa, so great services that they have to offer, and they had a big crowd out for it, so it was really great. Again, I was at the Pride event with everybody on the 12th. Very impressed with the people who speak at that event. The members from your committee are very positive, they're very well spoken, and they certainly bring to light the benefit of that, the event and our open inclusivity here in Petawawa. And on the 13th, I was at the Craft Beer Fest as part of the 13th Day celebration. Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Root.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thursday, June 4th, I attended the Garrison Business Lunch as well. I also attended the AOR's trade show and hosted here by the town public works team, and it was just a great job, and what a great way to showcase our town. There was brought a lot of people into the area, and the hotels, motels, the restaurants were very busy, and they were very good for tourism. Friday, I attended the Petawawa Sports and Entertainment Hall of Fame event, and again, it was an outstanding event, and it's so nice to see again when we can bring our people and show off people who attended schools and grew up in their town and went away and made names for themselves and come back, and you just see the emotion, and it's just a super night. Also, the weekend I attended some Civic Center Day events as well. That's it.
Thank you. On June 2nd, I was the track announcer for the RCEIAA track event. About 800 kids from all across the county competing in all sorts of different track and field events. On the 4th, I as well attended the Garrison Luncheon. It was great to see that event come back. Hopefully it will continue to be an annual event to get the business people of Petawawa together with the Garrison. And later that evening, there was the Pembroke Regional Hospital Foundation Together We Care launch for their newest fundraiser, and a big announcement from CNL in terms of some ongoing fundraising dollars from them for the next 5 years. On the 8th, there was a special operations committee meeting at Renfrew County regarding Highway 17 and the twinning thereof. I can't say it was any more positive than any of the previous meetings that we've had. But I will announce to the public that on Thursday, June 18th, there's a public Highway 17 twinning meeting in McNabb Braeside that's open to the public. I have a feeling that our MPP, will be there, as well as I know for sure there's some MTO staff there to answer questions from the public. So I encourage everybody from the town of Petawawa who's interested in seeing Highway 17 get 4-laned all the way to our community. Here's your chance to go and ask questions and to advocate on your community's behalf to get that Highway 17 twinned up here. One of the big things we're asking is that they start the twinning up here at our end, in the western end, and work towards each other in the middle, rather than waiting for it to come all the way from our part to here, which if past precedent is any indication, it might take another 100 years. And we don't want to wait that long. So to everybody here in the town of Petawawa, get down there to McNabb Braeside on the evening of June 18th and advocate for 4 lanes on Highway 17 in our municipality. On the 10th, there was a county council meeting at Renfrew County. On the 11th, I went to the Garrison Change of Command Parade, where Colonel Trenholm handed over the reins to Garrison Petawawa to Colonel Rock. Colonel Trenholm also got promoted to general and will be deployed over in Europe for a year. On the 12th, I also attended the Rise Kind grand opening, a great mental health service now provided in our town. Wish them all the success. I also attended the Pride event. A huge thanks to everybody involved, you and all of your committee and all the volunteers. When I was there, it was just hot. That's the most people I've ever seen at a Pride event. So again, I'll echo what you said. It's great to see everybody coming out and supporting the event. And as well, that evening was the Petawawa Sports and Entertainment Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We had over 210 people there, which was our biggest crowd ever. And it was a raucous crowd, I must say. Things were getting out of hand. It was great to have Glenn Douglas inducted, Tom Green, the entertainer, Allison Ackman, the swimmer, and of course, Heck Kuche Jr. So a lot of people out to support those people getting inducted. And this afternoon, I had a meeting with the new FCM Defense Task Force team. This was our second meeting. We're 18 mayors from across the country who have garrisons in their town. So there were mayors from Edmonton, Halifax, Esquimalt, Yellowknife, everywhere in Canada that has a garrison. Everybody was there. But the important point about this meeting was the Chief of Defense Staff, General Gary Mann, was on the Zoom meeting with us for half an hour. So it just goes to show you that DND and the military are paying attention. They know that this funding is a positive thing for all of these communities, and we know it's a positive thing as well, but everybody is aware and understands that it also creates some pressures in our respective communities. And everybody on the Zoom meeting had a chance to talk about their community and the different pressures that they're all facing because of this huge investment, not only money, but housing, and additional troops and additional infrastructure. And we were all saying basically the same thing. It's going to put stresses on our water, our wastewater, our roads, our traffic, healthcare, daycare, and all of those sorts of things. So it was great to have an audience with the Chief of Defense Staff. She was scribbling furiously with everybody's concerns and ideas. Also on the call was the Assistant Deputy Minister for DND Infrastructure and Environment, Peter Hammerschmidt. That's a cool name, Hammerschmidt. But he was on there in terms of listening to the same thing and the concerns, and he expressed an interest in meeting with us by himself. to further talk about how we can collaborate and communicate and get things done. So that was a really positive meeting. And that's it. Now we have a closed meeting to get into, so I need a motion to go into close. Moved by Councillor Coutu, second by Councillor Carmody, that the meeting be closed pursuant to section 239, paragraph 2, paragraph C of the Municipal Act 2001, S.O.2001, C.25, as amended, to discuss a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board regarding a potential disposal of land by the town of Petawawa. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. Okay, welcome back. We just came from a closed session. Council discussed a potential disposal of land. And we also voted on the following motion, or we will vote on the following motion in open session. So the resolution is that council denies the request to waive the town's application for a park lot control application. If you're comfortable with that, I need a motion. Moved by Deputy Mayor Saffron, seconded by Councillor Coutu, that council denies the request to waive the town's application fee for a park lot control application. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried. I need a motion for the confirming bylaw. Moved by Councillor Donovan, second by Councillor Comedy. Remembering that bylaw 1840/26 be read first, second, and third time and passed. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.
Corporation of the Town of Petawawa bylaw 1840/26, being the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on June 15th, 2026. You read it first, second, and third time and passed. This constitutes first, second, and third reading short of bylaw 1840/26, the 15th day of June 2026.
I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Coutu, second by Councillor Driscoll, that the meeting adjourn to the call of the mayor. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? It's carried.